You want to guess what kind of truck this is? Alright, so we have, as you guessed it, Ford F-150. What are we doing to the Ford F-150? Well, Fernando is in the back there. That's telling you we have a backup camera that's going in. What we're doing is we're using a 4201, which is what this camera is sitting on to prop it up higher. We're going to use this guy right here. We've showed this before. This is the Alpine tag cam. There's actually not a camera on this. What it does is it takes one of those cool square cams like the Pioneer camera, the Alpine camera, the Kenwood camera, and allows you to mount it as a license plate. We're also doing, of course, the cool pack audio dash kit, an Alpine PDX V9, and a USB HDMI adapter for in the dash because he wants to use his Samsung Galaxy S8 to screen share, along with doing Android Auto from the 4201. Alright, so that's the equipment we're putting in. Now, the one thing you've noticed, there's no speakers. This is phase 1 of 2 that's going to happen in this truck. We had a budget that we wanted to stay within, or he had a budget that he wanted to stay within, and instead of trying to go with cheaper products, which originally we were going with a different amplifier, he wanted the Alpine, which cost more, so we had to move things around, and the thing that went out was the speakers. He can do that in a couple months. This is his baby. As you can see, it's jacked up. Look at these wheels. Look at those things. Those look pretty cool. He doesn't have it yet, but we were just talking about it. He just ordered a whole new grill. So when we do phase 2 of this, we'll have a grill that's gonna go here. So you know how you guys are that have trucks. You're gonna keep them, right? This is the last truck. This is the dude. So in other words, this is his truck, this is his baby. We didn't want to skimp on things, so it was easier just to leave the speakers out. It is going to change the install a little bit, however, because typically when we do a PDX V9, we like to rewire the speakers. Today, 2 things working against us. 1, we don't have the speakers, and 2, it's already late in the day and we don't have a lot of time because he also uses this truck daily to pull a trailer, and we're going to have to move extremely fast, which is why I'm like winded talking to you right now. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to run our new wires to the B-pillars, which is for the rear doors, but then on the front doors we're actually just going to run our 16 gauge up into the radio and tap it there. The reason why we're going to run it and tap it there is because when we go to do the new speakers, we'll already have the wire run up. We can disconnect it and we can run it up to the tweeters and over into the doors. If you guys are wondering why we're doing it, that's why we're doing it. Future, you know, just so when, yeah, okay. So enough talking, let's get to work.
All right, so here we go. This is what we got. This is it. See how it has this cool little square right here? It also has tag lights. This is something that most of these things don't have. That's because it's going up in, and let's say your tag lights are here and here shining down. This may interfere with it, so they've added their own tag lights. It's kind of a cool feature for sure. We have the cool Pioneer camera, which is square. The whole idea is to get it up into this, just like that. This comes with a bunch of brackets, along with some really nice screws to screw this thing into the license plate holder. So it comes with both coarse and fine thread screws. So that's a really nice thing about this. It also comes with the Allen key for these, because these are, you know, they have Allen head instead of just a Phillips, so that's extra safety there. Now this guy here is designed to mount just like this on the back, and the camera is designed to screw into it. So we're gonna go ahead and get these Allen keys off of here. Now, because this is made for an Alpine camera and not a Pioneer, these holes don't line up, but all we need to do is U them and it will line up just fine. And by U, it's just cut out the oval, so now it looks more like a U. Now on the cameras, every camera that's square like this, you see this little gray dot right here? That means up. All of them are gonna have some form of a dot or something, a name or something along those lines that tells you that that's up. All right, so there we go. We added some tape on here to go across here. There's a light here, there's a light here as we shown, and the wire just kind of loops around, looks kind of cheesy. So it's gonna sit flat up against the tag that's going in there. I'm gonna go ahead and get this back to Fernando so he can get it onto the car.
So Fernando just mounted the license plate on, and we wanted to take a look at it in the viewer to see how it looked. And let me show you. He's got this big thing here because it's obviously jacked way up. So our concern is that we wouldn't be able to see enough of it. So what we had to go in and do, so we had to move this down at an angle so that it would be able to see more of this. We can kind of get a good shot of this. Now what we want to do is go ahead and get this radio out, get all the running boards off, get that seat folded down so we can figure out what we have to make to mount the amplifier.
So we have the factory radio out of the dash. We have our pack kit. This is the RPK FD2201. We also have the cigarette lighter out. We're gonna put the HDMI in here. Now, for those of you that have never seen us do one of these, awesome. We have several videos. We have one dedicated just to showing you how to do this. Go check that out, because for the rest of you that are following us on this channel, you've seen this kit way too many times. We've time-lapsed it. We've tried to find as many interesting things as we can about it. I'm out of it. I don't know what else to show you on this. It's not that deep of a kit. So I'm gonna make this one of the fastest time lapses that you guys have ever seen. Ready? And go. So our harness is done, our dash kit is done. Just putting the last few zip ties on this so that it is all buttoned up. Now what we have going on here is these are gonna be the front wires that are gonna be on here temporarily. We have our accessory and ground to power up the backup camera. We have our remote turn on trigger output here. This is the steering wheel control. This is gonna plug into the back of the radio along with the main wiring harness here. So this is all set. I'm gonna go ahead and get this into the car so that he can hook up the power and ground for the camera. Next is figuring out how to mount the amp and get those wires taken care of. Fernando has the amp board done. This is it right here. And he's drilled 2 holes already in the plastic, and those plastic holes have translated out to metal holes. Now we're gonna go ahead and put in our rivets. Now this amp rack is made out of 1/8 inch ABS, because you guys like to know these things. So this will come down here and sit just like that, sitting off the floor, because the power wire and the right side speakers are gonna come this way, and then the left side speakers and the RCAs are gonna go that way along with the remote turn on. But it sits up here, fits, looks real sexy. Good job, Fernando. So for this, we're doing, you know, the Stinger's 4000 series RCAs is what we typically do, and then we're also gonna be doing the Stinger power kit. Now the cool thing, and we've said this before about the PDX series amplifiers, is that they have these cool plugs that allow us to plug into the amplifier. Once we can bring the 2 pieces together, all we have to do is plug this stuff in. So the smaller ferrules we can crimp. We have 2 different crimpers for those. We really haven't talked about them much, but one crimps like a round shape and the other one crimps like a square shape. What we want to use on these is the square shape, because when this pulls it, it's not, you know, a screw that's driving into it. It's actually a whole thing that pinches flat like this. So with the square shape, that'll go ahead and pinch it nice and flat and keep it flat. This is the square one here. We're gonna go ahead, we're using the double ferrule, which allows us to take and put 2 wires into 1 ferrule. Has a bigger flange on it, it's not round. I'll go ahead and line it up so that it will crimp flat. There we go. So now we have a square end on the wire, So when we go to put it in these, it'll fit really nice. So what we like to do is when we're doing these multi-channel amplifiers like this with these RCAs is because they put this way down here where it says front, rear, sub, is we go ahead and we add in the purple, white, gray, green colors on them so that we can just quickly look at what we need to do when we go to plug it in, because a lot of the times we're tuning, we unplug, we plug in, we used to just put an F, an R, and all that. So now we've color coded it. And the ones that don't have these guys here, this is the subwoofer. So we are done with the wiring side of things. We have everything all zip tied up, nice and tight. We're good. We're gonna go ahead and get this over into the car. Yay!
That's one.
Call Fernando Lopez.
Calling Fernando Lopez.
Gotta check the air conditioning. So we're done with the actual physical part of the install, meaning the radio's in, the amplifier's in, we have the Kicker Comp RTs loaded and up and under the seat. Fernando got the fuse holder in and mounted, all secure and, you know, sexy like. Now, because he has the factory speakers, we're really not too concerned about doing a great tune on this. We just want to make sure everything performs the best that it can. So we're going to keep the gains on the amplifier probably all the way down because we don't want to blow these factory speakers. This amplifier has way too much power for these factory speakers. We're going to concentrate today on making sure we have the crossover set good so we can get as much life out of these to get them to step 2, which is when we actually replace the speakers and do a full tune. So now the goal is to sit in the car, take a listen to it with the sub off, make sure that we're not getting any like funky sounds coming out of the speakers. We'll make sure there is enough volume because we still want them to enjoy it, and we'll go from there. Now, before we started on this, if you don't know this by now, on the NEX radios, the subwoofer comes default off. We get this question asked a lot. Well, you know, it's like you're excited and then no bass. For us, it's good because we always start with the subwoofer off. Just in case you were wondering, subwoofer always comes default off. Way too much bass coming out of those factory speakers. We can just hear them crying. So we're gonna go do a little bit of adjustment. So that's a little nicer. We kicked the crossover up to about between 180 and 200. A little high, but you know, these things, they're cheap plastic. So there again, we don't want to kill them. Let's go in and turn on the subwoofer. So we have this one sounding about where we want it to sound today. Now, Paul just came over and told me it's coming back in for speakers next week. So part 2 is gonna happen a lot sooner than we had thought. Yay! If you're watching this, get ready. A couple days, we'll have the rest of this. And apparently we're gonna be doing Alpine X-Types? X-Types, yeah.
Nice.
The F-150 sound really nice with those X-Types. That 6x9 separate set is really cool. All right, well, we're not gonna drag this out anymore. You guys have a great night as always, and we'll see you later next time. Until the next one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, bye. See ya.